Cool. So without further ado, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. On behalf of OptimoRoute, we're certainly happy that you're all here. This session is our 201 session. It really follows our 101 session where we went in sort of more of the introductory stuff. Today, we're going to go deeper into the platform, share some stuff that maybe you're aware of, hopefully share some things that and some ideas that you're not aware of. And as always, we use these opportunities to answer any questions, anything about the presentation that we provided today, or anything about OptimoRoute in particular. So if you do have a question, feel free at any time to put it into the chat. We're going to cover all of the questions at the end. But as I mentioned, this session today is really for you guys to kind of dig in a little bit further in terms of the platform. And today we're going to cover three key areas within the platform: live tracking, real-time order tracking or customer notifications, and dig in a little bit further around proof of delivery, proof of service. I'm joined by two longtime OptimoRoute folks who have been with the company for many years now. They've worked with our customers for all of that time here. So I'm going to first introduce myself. I'm Bart. I run the marketing side of the house here at OptimoRoute. And then I'm going to turn it over to Domo to make an introduction as well.
Alrighty. How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining. I'm Domo. I've been with the company for almost 5 years now. This is where I started sales, where I learned everything I know, and of course worked with many different businesses, all sorts of sizes, from micro businesses, small to enterprise. And I'm looking forward to showing you a little bit more about our tool today.
Thank you, sir. Devin, if you could do the same, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Devin. I've been here for long enough to know a bunch about the software. Yeah, some of you may have recognized me from some of the previous webinars. Yeah, basically here to help answer questions, make sure people are basically continuing to be as successful as we can make them be.
Thank you, sir. And as I mentioned, this is the 201 session. So we did record our 101 session. Actually, all of the webinars that we've done are recorded. They're all available on the OptimoRoute website under resources. You'll find all the webinars there, so you can go and pull those on demand at any time. But today we're going to jump right into our 201 session. And so the first area we're going to cover in that 201 session is live tracking. And so just kind of, Domo, just to describe live tracking, the primary benefit as you see it, if you could kind of share with the audience your perspective.
Yeah, of course. I'll keep this kind of quick, 10 words or less. But what I typically say to our customers and anyone trialing out the software is that the main benefit, the biggest benefit of live tracking is having this 360 view of what's happening on the road from a dispatcher's point of view, right? You get to know exactly what's happening when it is. You see the exact location of the driver. It really keeps you informed.
Cool. Thanks for that. And then, Devin, we're going to dig in your section a little bit more around the real-time order tracking or customer notifications. Similar to Domo, if you can kind of just give your kind of high-level overview of what that means to a customer.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to, say, the end customer especially, there's a huge benefit as far as it's giving them a lot more insight into what's happening with their particular order. So, as far as a benefit for them and even say dispatcher or sales or support for the business that's providing the service, it frees people up. They're not going to have to be calling anybody, as in the customer is not going to have to be calling anybody to find out, hey, where's my package? Where's it been left? Whatever it may be, or where's my technician? And additionally, we do have confirmation that a job's being completed. So really just it frees up a lot of time for pretty much everybody involved.
Cool. Thanks for that, sir. So let's dig in a little bit further. As you guys both work with customers, get them up and running around the platform. Domo, where would you start? Where do you start with live tracking when you kind of go through an overview and kind of high level the way it works and what it means to a customer again?
Yeah, of course. All right. So currently we're in the live tab, right? And I'm just going to quickly turn on a simulator for you all. So just so everyone's aware, these are not actual drivers driving around, but like I mentioned, just a simulator, and I'll let this go for a little bit so we can kind of highlight some things, right? So first thing I want to look at is up on the top left here, we have show route. We have a planned route, an actual route, and then you can compare, right? You can see both. So the plan is what it is. This is OptimoRoute suggestion and final kind of product. Actual is, if we just focus on one driver, we can see a dotted line. This is a breadcrumb trail, right? So it's going to track the driver the entire time. If I click both here, I can actually see, okay, where the driver was compared to where he should have been, right? You can kind of keep tabs of things. Some other things I'll focus in on are, of course, proof of delivery. There's a nice preview of proof of delivery or proof of services that get submitted via the driver app. They'll show up here. You can double click an order, see where you are and what's been submitted. And then, of course, ETA updates populate here as the drivers are kind of driving around and going about their day, right? Service start times get uploaded or updated, right? And here we are. Here we see these. Zoom in a bit. ETA updates, right? So these are kind of the main things I focus in on typically, and of course the order status.
Thanks for that. Devin, anything that you wanted to share in addition to what Domo went through?
Yep. Let me just get my screen shared here as well. And yeah, so one of the things that I think is useful for people to be aware of is obviously the live screen is fantastic for knowing where people have been and where they're going to be, or even more specifically where they are in that moment. The biggest benefit that I've heard from a lot of customers has been it helps them when they want to go and sort of make a manual change. Let's say somebody's running behind or a brand new order has come in and they want to be able to place it in where they feel is the best. Now, of course, we always recommend let OptimoRoute do that heavy lifting, but there's always cases where at some point somebody may want to be like, but it's just as fast for me to drag this order into place, let's say on a route. So one thing that not everybody is necessarily aware of is you can customize the columns that you have displayed. And to basically expose that or select it, we hover over any one of these header columns. So if I go and select, I'll click the drop-down arrow, go to columns, and while I already have it exposed, we'll notice here that we have status. So if I click it, it disappears, it shows again. I don't know if everybody caught it, but I'm going to highlight it now. We'll notice here that we have this column tab. Status column. And we'll notice that this first job has been completed and this next one is en route. So what this helps us with, as I mentioned, is we know exactly where we have a sense as to what's been completed, where they're going to be going next, and allows you to, any one of those new orders that come in, place it exactly where you want. So that's one thing that I think is really useful when it comes to making use of live information in real time planning scenarios.
Thank you, Devin. Domo, just going back to you again, I think Devin mentioned it, right? Just kind of getting changes, right? Kind of seeing things that maybe as a dispatcher or a planner, you want to impact from the live tracking. Kind of what's the best way to manage that from your perspective?
Yeah, of course. And then just some context, I'll give a scenario out. Let's say, driver's going off path, or maybe we see heavy delays. Maybe driver David won't be able to get to all of his orders, right? So we'll hop back into the plan and optimize tab at the top, and we have a few options here to kind of reset the day, dynamically replan. We can go in the timeline tab. We can scoot over here, shift around some orders, right? Make some changes and have everything be updated, right? And then we'll just reshare the routes, okay? Or we can do another actual run of the algorithm, right? So we'll plan the orders out again, allow all changes to the current solution, plan the day out, update the mobile app.
Cool. So really just a lot of options for folks to either let the platform, as Devin mentioned, do the heavy lifting, or if you want to make a quick change, you're able to do that from the timeline or the map itself, correct?
Yeah. Yes, very
Perfect.
seamless.
Devin, let's move on to real-time order tracking, customer notifications. Similar to Domo's overview, when you set this up, kind of where do you start from a best practices perspective?
Sure. So I'll get my screen shared again. All right. So as far as getting it set up, you pretty much always start off at the central point where everybody goes. We click administration. We go down into settings. And on the left here, we have order tracking. So here, for example, once it's activated, we're able to put our company name, phone number. We can also attach a a company logo. So then that way you can brand the tracking page that the customer is going to be able to access. And for those that are unfamiliar with how the tracking page looks, I will share that a little bit after. But you can think of it something similar to like a Google experience, where people have the update to the ETA, and they can eventually also see where the driver is. So one thing that's useful that we've gotten feedback from, generally more so from, say, the service side of things, companies providing services, is you're able to show, say, the driver's name, contact number, as well as even vehicle information. So let's say license plate is going to appear within that tracking page. So again, somebody pulls into a customer's driveway and they're able to immediately recognize and say, oh, okay, yeah, this all seems legit. It's exactly who I was more or less expecting. Additionally, we do also have this show driver position. You can see there are 3 different options. Most people go with just prior to service because this is something that exposes the driver's location as a little marker that they're able to see on a map, again, similar to that Uber experience. But it only shows that once the driver is actually en route to that customer, meaning if I'm customer number 10 on a route, I don't actually get to see the driver's location until he's completed stop number 9 and he's on his way to me. As we scroll down further, we have the different notifications. So all the notification names are generally pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. Just to provide some context as far as scheduled time notification, that is something that when we click the blue share routes button, there's an option there that says send customer notifications. And that is going to kind of email and or text blast everybody who has an order scheduled that day or for that range that we've selected. So everybody's going to get notified with whatever information we include in the body of this text. We can see it's customized. And something that maybe not everybody is aware of is the fact that the driver is on the way notification. This can actually have multiple, let's call them iterations, meaning we can have it where we create 2 or 3, let's say, notifications of drivers on the way, where we can say, okay, we want to notify a customer when their driver is 30 minutes away. And then we can maybe have another one, once we've saved that, where they're maybe 5 minutes away and they've completed that previous stop. So again, for me as customer number 10, I'm only going to receive my second notification of drivers on the way when it fulfills both of these requirements, when the driver is 5 minutes away and has completed that stop number 9. So we can again update the text of that text message to reflect something more accurate, saying, hey, we are close by, get ready. So we can have something like that. And then lastly, by default, and this is what the notifications look like. This is basically just showing at different times what people can expect to see. So if somebody receives the notification the day before, they'll have the date and the time range. On the day of, it drops the date and shows just the time range. And then when we're about 30 minutes out, that's when the time range changes to an actual ETA that is updated and counting down. And we'll notice here that we do have like a little driver pin that represents there. By default, it is a 2-hour, let's say, time range or ETA range, meaning if we look at this middle option here, or this middle screenshot, it's showing from 10 until 12. This is all based off of the ETA that OptimoRoute has given, but we can customize that. So if somebody would rather have, say, a 1-hour range that you provide the customer or a 4-hour range, just contact OptimoRoute support and we can help set that up based on whatever is going to be most applicable for your business.
Thank you, sir. Domo, anything else that you wanted to share around real-time order tracking?
Yeah, two things I wanted to go over. Just let me share my screen really quickly. Alrighty, and we'll hop in. Just as Devin mentioned, top right corner, admin button, settings, and we'll go to the order tracking option on the left side. Really want to focus on these two options here, right? So we have proof of delivery and customer feedback. So we can have all of your proof of delivery or proof of services that your drivers are submitting. So whether that be a note, a signature on site, some photos, all of that can automatically be triggered and sent over to your end customers, right? You just have to make sure you have proof of delivery set up in this section. You'll select the box and you'll pick which ones want to get automatically sent. They get sent with the order failed and order completed notifications, right? Again, this is completely automized. You don't have to do anything, just have everything set up on the back end and you're good. And then lastly, kind of in spirit of keeping everyone's customers happy, including our own, enabling customer feedback form, right? So at the end, they can rate their experience, leave a comment, submit it, and then in the analytics, all of that will be pushed here in the customer feedback option where you can see how your drivers are doing, how your customers feel about the services that they've been receiving.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned proof of delivery and capturing it right in the platform. Once it's captured Domo into OptimoRoute, how long actually does that proof of delivery stay in the platform?
Yeah, so the proof of delivery stays forever in the system. You can pull this via the API at any time in bulk, or if you want, you can also go to the plan versus actual option in the analytics tab and just do an export, and you'll have kind of a full data export with POD links that last for 30 days. If you ever need to go back and re-export and get those links freshened up, you can. But short
Got it.
answer is they stay forever.
Yep. And so if you mentioned it, so if somebody's platform is integrated, right, their order management system, an ERP platform, whatever is integrated to OptimoRoute, what we capture in OptimoRoute via the API gets pulled right into their primary platform and can live there forever as well.
Exactly.
Cool. Devin, we covered a couple of areas here that I know you work very closely with our product team. Would love to get a sense of any new features on the horizon for real-time order tracking, customer notifications, as you're aware.
Yeah, sure. So we actually have a fifth notification type that we're going to be coming out with. You know, our estimations are within the next few weeks here. I believe we already have some beta testers testing it out. Basically, what this new one is going to support is for any changes to a provided ETA. So if let's say we have an ETA where a customer receives a says, "Okay, you can expect your delivery at 2 p.m." If for whatever reason throughout the route that driver has run into issues and they're running behind, we can set up a notification where we go and say, okay, if there is any change to this given ETA by more than we pick the number. So let's say we're going to say 1 hour. If 1 hour has passed, or sorry, if things are going, this ETA has been pushed by an hour. That is going to trigger this notification. That's going to trigger this notification. So then that way, again, customers kind of have that little nudge saying, hey, just, we haven't forgotten about you or anything like that. We're just keeping you up to date as to what's going on. At which point they can, again, go back to the tracking link and they'll see everything updated. So at any point, they can visit the tracking link to see what's happening live. But this is just, again, kind of that nudge to make sure that the communication is going to remain open and in the end reduce the number of calls that could potentially be coming into any given business.
Cool. Thanks for that. And then Domo went through proof of service, proof of delivery in some detail. And again, I think there's something coming down the road for that as well.
Yeah, so what we're pushing out soon is like a beta test of barcode scanning, right? And it should come in the next week or two. It's perfect for delivery tracking, loading and unloading vehicles. Also great from a service aspect. You're servicing and installing things, just ensuring you that another step of proof right down the line.
Thanks. Cool. So I think we covered three key areas here. Obviously, the live tracking, which again allows us to kind of keep an eye on where your drivers, where your techs are, and then go in, as Domo showed, to kind of correct something if, for whatever reason, an order or a service job might be falling beyond the scope of what they can do that day. And then from a real-time order tracking perspective, really, again, those live notifications out to customers to really keep them in the loop and provide better customer service in terms of, hey, your service is on its way, your delivery is on its way. This way they can be aware of it, maybe meet the driver personally, meet the service tech if they've got to let them into the back or into the house for whatever reason. All of that great. And then obviously proof of delivery in terms of, what we have in the platform today and what's coming down the road. So that's fundamentally what we wanted to cover in this 201 series. We do have a 301 series coming up next month, so be on the lookout for that. But really wanted to dig in now into some questions, either directly related to the presentation today, or again, anything OptimoRoute. So we've got some already in the chat. If you have any questions, it's your chance to get them in now, so we can go through those in some detail. The first one that's come in here is basically someone who's relatively new to the platform, basically, and they've said, what if I have to basically go in and change on the fly my customer notifications? How do I do that?
So I can take that one. The thing is with the way that these notifications the way that the notifications have been set up, you actually don't need to do any manual adjustments or anything like that. The great thing is everything is automated, minus the one notification. But aside from that, drivers on the way, again, this new notification that's going to be coming out for any sort of change to an ETA, as well as even completed or failed jobs. These are all automated. So if you move things around or if you need to add a new order, you don't actually have to make any changes yourself. The system is going to take care of that for you.
Got it. Next question that came in is, what percentage of your customers are passing real-time data to and from an ERP platform? And so I would expand this, right? We obviously integrate with ERP platforms. We integrate with order management systems. We integrate with transportation management systems. So basically, the nice thing here from the OptimoRoute perspective is our API is incredibly extensible. It's probably any capability you can do via the platform, you can do via the API. And so we're connected to various ERPs already, Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle, Encompass, to name just a few. But percentage-wise, I know we see the calls coming in from into our platform from these various databases, but I don't know percentage-wise. I would say, if you generally, for customers that have a platform and want to integrate it, it's the right way to go, because as Domo mentioned earlier, everything that you do in OptimoRoute can be pulled back into your ERP, and anything you want to push from an order perspective, notes that you capture in your ERP can be pushed directly via the API into OptimoRoute. So if you're looking to do that, and we suggest anybody that has any of those platforms should, just reach out to our support team at support@optimoroute.com. They can help you get started in that direction, support the effort to get that integration going. Next question for the team. Is there any way to export planned route times / mileage versus actual times / mileage?
So I believe that's reference to the one of the analytic charts that we have, planned versus actual, as well as actual distance and or time. So currently the planned versus actual chart, I guess, or dashboard, however you want to call it. That's one of the ones that can be exported. We are actually going to be working in the near future here to have more of these charts be exportable. But currently, a lot of that information is accessible just within the the web application. But of course, a lot of that information that you would be using for analytics can also be pulled through the API as well. So there is access to it to be able to manipulate it further. But yeah, currently, let's say a portion of it is available for export.
Thank you, sir. There was a follow-up to the ERP question related to a specific ERP called Distribution One. Looks like it's their order management system for order taking, inventory management, accounting, and billing. So again, similar to what I mentioned earlier, we can connect to, as far as I've seen, any ERP order management platform. I haven't been aware of any that we haven't been able to, even whether it's Distribution One or homegrown stuff that people may have developed themselves. So again, the best way to proceed there, reach out to support@optimoroute.com. One of our implementation engineers will work with you to kind of get that moving in the right direction. Another question I can easily handle: is this meeting being recorded? Yes, we record all the webinars. So again, anybody that's joined here today will get a follow-up link to this email. And for any colleagues that weren't able to join or register for the webinar, all the webinars are available on our website. Next question for the team: is there any way we can split or switch the current route without deactivating all drivers' routes?
So for that, the big thing to consider when it comes to, let's say, manipulating, or in this case, splitting routes, the type of order as it sits within OptimoRoute is important. The reason being is, when it comes to, say, delivery, the software understands or is kind of designed to say, this is delivery. That means that there is a real package on the vehicle, which can't, magically be moved from one vehicle to another. And so that's why there is a little bit more of a limitation on how you would split just move around delivery order types. This is actually something that we are going to be working on in the future, but it does have that current limitation. If it's an order type of, say, a task or a pickup, there's a lot more fluidity with those because, again, there's nothing physically on the vehicle that necessarily or is a necessity to complete that, aside from, say, obviously, maybe capacity if it's going to be a pickup, or, say, a technician's skill that may have restricted which person actually gets a given order anyways. But what might be useful is, for whoever asked that question, give us a call or send us an email to our support line. And I'd even be happy to jump on a call just to sort of find out what scenarios you may need to switch or reverse, and we'll figure out something that's going to work best for you.
And then just to add to that, we also have a switch driver button as well. That if it is in a live route and it is an order type, as Devin mentioned, it's a pickup or a task. I can even show you. You'll go to the Plan and Optimize tab. You have the routes. You can select a driver, and then we have this switch driver button. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
And Devin mentioned it. Just a reminder to the audience here, right? You certainly we get a lot of our good ideas and updates to the platform directly from our customers. So if you have anything that you'd like to see in the platform, as Devin mentioned, reach out to support. Reach out to your current sales rep. They'll get it into our product roadmap. We obviously have to prioritize things as they come in, but we can kind of look to get the right features or new features available for folks as good ideas come across. The next question is: we deliver to multiple stores. We deliver for multiple stores, and they would like to be able to set up the package coming from different stores in the notifications. Is there a workaround there or a way to do that as you guys see it?
Yeah, the way I would see it is, we could, say, use a custom field. You wouldn't be able to have, say, a different logo because it is essentially all coming from your business. But essentially, if you use a custom field to put in the store, I'm trying to think. Let's say we're all familiar with Lowe's or Home Depot kind of thing. So if somebody's delivering on behalf of them, you can have at the very least the body within the body of any given text message, you can include the name of that store that it's coming from. It's one of the tags that's involved when creating any one of these notifications. Again, if anybody wants help going through that, we're more than happy to walk you through with our support and all that. But that's how I would recommend going about it. I don't know if the person was was thinking something a little bit more extensive kind of thing, but I've recommended that workflow in the past, and it's been generally well received.
Yeah, I think that's a great workaround, as you mentioned, Devin. Right? Again, I think that's a way to get it done in the platform as set up today, and certainly from a note perspective, we can push to product the idea that potentially having something that could maybe potentially allow for other things to be in the primary header as well. But the best way to get it set up, as you mentioned, is that field today. When you edit orders and add notes, can the drivers see those notes?
Yes. The notes will always be in the mobile app. So yeah, they just need to swipe up if the notes are below, and they'll see it for each order.
Cool. Thanks for that. Next question. Do we have any plans of integrating or adding a digital logbook capability? We deliver vinyl siding via non-CDL trucks, but drivers' trucks must comply with DOT digital logbook requirements. How about truck cameras? So I'm not aware of anything currently in the pipeline related to that. I don't know if you guys have a different answer related to that from your perspective.
It's chances are we're probably not going to quite get into that that part of the business, I guess. Pretty much every digital log requires something plugged into the vehicle as well, and for trucks and whatnot. It's a little bit outside of our current purview. Obviously, who knows what the future may hold, but for now, I wouldn't quite expect us to have anything to track actually logging hours or anything like that.
Yep. Yeah, and again, we'll pass this to the product team as a note. They'll obviously pull it into our potential roadmap, but certainly anything we activate around that will make the audience aware if that's something we move in that direction around. Does the notification go? Does the notification go by the actual schedule or where he is at live? So if he is running behind, will it show the new time that he'll be there?
Yeah, I guess kind of both. Based on when the ETA was first created during the planning phase. So obviously you want to make sure that you have the driver profile set up with accurate working hours. So if they start at 9 o'clock, make sure that the driver profile actually has that driver starting at 9. And so that's the information that is shared initially. Now, of course, if something happens while they're on the road and there's a change for whatever it may be, they're running behind or they're running ahead of schedule, that information is updated. And shared and visible to the customer, as well as say the dispatch, like where Domo had shown in the live screen there. We do have the start service time column, and that's the one that's actually going to be updating in real time versus the column beside it where you can see what the scheduled ETA was.
Cool. Thanks for that, Devin. On the order tracking, can we send both a support email and phone number, or does it have to be one or the other?
So I suppose as far as sending, I mean, if you're sending the notification via email, as we mentioned, you can send a text and an email. You can, let's say, brand the email address. So I think by default it's something like or info at OptimoRoute, something along those lines. I'm maybe not as familiar with it as I should for that part.
It's info at OptimoRoute tracking, I think.
There we go. Thank you,
Yeah.
Domo. So yeah, you can go and change that. So long as you have a business email address, you can have it coming from yourself. And for the support number, yeah, you're able to put the support phone number, obviously, to appear in the text. I don't believe we have. It's actually been a while since I've scrutinized it that closely, but I don't believe we have a space for the email address itself to appear on that tracking page. But again, I would just recommend sending an email as well.
Got it. Can these settings for customer notifications be applied to the customer profile?
Waiting to see if Domo wants that one because we love that question. Currently, no. Currently, the customer details do need to be imported each time. Again, to kind of allude to the API, the API makes that kind of thing much easier because it's just a matter of you set it up once and it's just constantly going to be populating that information every time it sends an order over. For the most part, realistically as well, a lot of export functions from a lot of ERPs or CRMs, they also have an option where you can include that information. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, painstakingly, a painstaking task to do. But again, without trying to say we're always going to be working on that, that is something that we do actually plan on addressing as to where it falls in the plan and in the pipeline. I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely something we've started to hear more and more, and I expect that we're going to have an answer to it here.
Fingers crossed.
Next question is, thanks for that, Devin. Is there a way to upload company invoices to the system for proof of delivery?
Dom, I heard you breathe in. That's you.
No, you got it. You got it. It's fine. You're doing so well.
Sure. So for invoices, I mean, we don't currently have any invoicing capabilities. So a driver or technician couldn't necessarily create an invoice through our app. But we do have it where you can include, say, a hyperlink in one of the custom fields. So if you do have an accounting software, billing software, you can just include a link to that within the mobile apps. In that way that, say, the driver could, or driver or technician could actually create an invoice right then and there. If it's a matter of to what extent you may want to be able to document maybe some services that were provided, we do have custom forms. That's part of our custom plan there, where you can basically give us a list of, let's say, additional questions you might want to ask a driver or technician to respond to. And yeah, they can basically fill that out as they're completing the job or once they're done. And, it can be something like, how many bags did you drop off? How many did you pick up? What was the part number that you worked on and maintained? It's very flexible. We can put a lot of information into it so that you can collect a lot of information. So yeah, hopefully that kind of covers the gamut of what's possible in that regard.
I may even have a example just to show of a custom form. 1 second here. There we go. I have to share my screen first.
Usually helps.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Can
Looks
Yep.
good.
There we go. Yeah. So we have some more information here. Stock ID, description, note, right? These are the top parts, are things that we don't typically have, but with this custom form option, of course, we can get that set up for you in the custom package.
I think it's also worth mentioning that those fields can be, let's say, formatted, so it doesn't have to be a free typing field. It can have it where it can only accept numerical values. Maybe it's going to be a drop down to select already pre-given answers, anything like that. So again, it's super flexible.
Yeah, great. No, thanks for that, guys. Does the customer have the ability to cancel the order once a notification is received?
Yeah.
Sorry, I felt like I was on a roll.
You are in a roll.
You can take the next one, but for this
No, it's
one,
fine. I like hearing you talk. Your beautiful voice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, for this one, they can call, I suppose, the business to cancel. We don't have anything currently within, say, the communication of the notifications that would have them actually be able to cancel and have that be reflected within OptimoRoute. So hopefully they use either the email or they call in to say, hey, this isn't going to work for me after all. And then that way the dispatcher can, of course, go in and make whatever change they need to account for this update.
Cool. Do you have any plans to include customer name in the various reports and forms, e.g. feedback notifications don't have a placeholder for customer name today?
Yeah, for that one, honestly, I wasn't myself. I wasn't fully aware of that missing. I think that's actually, yeah, it makes sense that we should have that. I think that we put that on the list of things that are worth expanding on. So yeah, we'll definitely pass it along to our development team, product team, and see what we can do to expand. Just so that way everybody knows, who's actually been leaving comments and whatnot.
Thanks, Devin. Is there a roadmap for white labeling the SMS to be able to use their own number for customer notifications?
For that, from my understanding, it requires a little bit more exploration. It is something that's kind of unique depending on the country. So it is something that we've been able to do for, say, people in Australia. And if anybody watching this is from Australia or is going to be watching the recording, it is something that we do support. So again, contact us at support@optimoroute.com. For the US, I'm not entirely sure. From what I last heard, it's not quite set up that way. I think it's, not to blame anybody, but it's probably Verizon's fault. But in case it's not, it is something that we do hope to be able to provide in the future.
Thanks for that. Here's another suggestion. Have you thought about an integration with WhatsApp for notifications?
Myself, I haven't. We would have to check with the with some of our colleagues to see if that's been considered. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe WhatsApp is used a lot in the US. But obviously, it is something that is growing in popularity. So I would say it probably is worthwhile for us to be exploring.
Great. And then I guess as we're on this idea of new feature request ideas, is there a place to submit feature requests with you? And so, again, I think we mentioned it. You can reach out to support at OptimoRoute.com with any feature request ideas. You can contact directly your salesperson. We've used these forums, obviously, to capture ideas and push them to product as well. Devin, Domo, did I miss anything there in terms of getting ideas across to the team?
No, I think that was a good answer.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going live with Acumatica in a few months. Really appreciate the change to an order delivered from the API. So I guess that's more of a thank you than anything. So appreciate that feedback. Thank you for that. If I want to copy orders from a previous route onto a new date, how do I do that without Optimo removing the order of the route that has already been planned on the previous route?
So I think what's happening there is there's technically two ways that you can move orders from one day to another. One is by actually editing the order itself. What that does is that carries pretty much like all the status information as well. So for example, if it's a completed or failed order, then it's going to carry that status along with it. So there's a better option that you can look at, which is the copy orders here. So hopefully everybody can see that, but I'm just in the orders tab on the Plan and Optimize screen. When I select an order or multiple orders, I click copy orders, and this brings up this other what's the word for it, pop-up window where we can basically select, okay, what date do I want this order to land on? You can see here, it's either using the 3 that I've selected, or if I want to copy all of them. But the point being is that you're able to copy and basically leave the original instance on that date. So then that way you can always look back to see, oh yeah, I remember trying it on that date, but it failed, while having a brand new instance or brand new order, essentially, on the new date. And just as far as copying, we do have copy orders, and then we also have copy routes. Copy routes copies the routes exactly as they are. The orders stay scheduled, whereas orders is going to essentially unschedule the order, and have it sitting there unscheduled, waiting to be put onto a plan.
Thank you for that, sir. I think that also covered the other question that was also about copy orders. So I think we've covered that. I have a question. I've seen sometimes when a customer has several locations that you plan a route, the address would change to another location. Any way to prevent that besides the change of the name of the customer name at the different location? So I guess it's, you understand the question, Devin? I think it's where they've got multiple at the same location, right?
Yeah, if it's something where you have, I don't know, you're delivering to McDonald's, let's say, obviously they're everywhere. Um, if you want to make sure you're going to the correct one, this is where we don't generally recommend people using, say, location IDs, because it can actually be kind of messy. But if you're familiar with how they work, basically that is something that is very unique, and it makes sure that when you're importing an order, there's no confusion as far as what the say Excel file, let's say, is communicating with our system as far as where the delivery needs to be made. So that's one thing to ensure that every order goes to where it's meant to, that there's no accidental switching between one order to another. Um, aside from that, that's honestly generally the biggest thing I've come across when people talk about addresses changing. It is just sort of an issue with the way things are being imported. So whoever asked that question, I would definitely recommend or ask that you write into support@optimoroute.com. It is something that we've come across before, and I'm positive we're going to be able to help you account and correct for it.
Thanks for that. I guess is a question of being able to unschedule a delivery once the driver is en route.
Yeah, for that, the best way to go about it, if it's an order that's scheduled, actually has the status of scheduled, if that driver goes off duty, it essentially kind of unlocks things, so you can you're going to be able to unschedule that order. Aside from that, you could say deactivate the routes. For those that do sort of use the deactivation workflow, they end up getting pretty quick where they click deactivate, unschedule the order, and then reactivate it, and nobody really notices a difference. The big thing being, if somebody's en route to an order, you want to be careful about that, because again, the system in general is looking at an en route order as something that's kind of locked in place. So even if you deactivate, there is still this preference for the system to say, okay, that's still on this driver. So if it is going to be an en route order, you're still going to want that driver to go off duty before you unschedule. That way it essentially frees it up so that you can actually make the changes that you want. But yeah, a driver going off duty and on duty can be sort of the simplest way to make some of those changes.
In a similar vein, is there a feature to prohibit the status of off duty without closing all orders for the day, whether completed or failed?
Not, yeah. I guess the short answer is no. I'm not too sure if we'd necessarily. I mean, I suppose that's actually something probably worthwhile to bring up to the product team. Um, a lot of the different operating systems, so iOS, Android, they do want to make sure that individual users have freedom to kind of do what they want. So there are certain limitations as to restrictions that we can make, because being on duty does allow us to track where they are. When somebody goes off duty, we're not tracking any of that information any longer. So it's it's a bit of a gray area, so I'm not too sure exactly what's possible. But of course, as I said, it's definitely something worth bringing up with our product team to explore, because I can see how you'd want to make sure everybody closes out their day um, before they actually go off duty. But of course, it could also just maybe be a matter of training the drivers to I guess follow the processes.
Is there a way to set reminders for drivers to complete their dispos at the end of each stop?
Not currently any reminders. I think that could be interesting to hear a little bit more about the scenario in which this user would like to see that implemented. But yeah, for now, there's no real reminder option. For the most part, what we've always gotten as feedback is because drivers eventually start learning that OptimoRoute is where all their order information is, because you have to go back into OptimoRoute to say know where you're going next. And you can't say start service or start navigation while something is still, let's say you have the service running for an order. There's they are sort of redirected to the app every time. So maybe it's just something trying to figure out the right workflow that's going to make it a little bit easier and support drivers actually doing that instead of maybe diverting from what's expected from them.
Just to be clear, Devin, we can create mandatory fields for them to answer before they close a service, right? And so that might be a way to at least have that checklist done, and then whatever that checklist might be before they close that service and start their next job, correct?
Yeah. Very good point. Proof of deliveries kind of thing are a perfect example. They need to collect a photo before they can actually complete something out.
Yep. Is there a way to set a defined schedule? For example, if we advise our customers in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire that their delivery days are Tuesday and Thursday, and Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island customers are Monday and Wednesday, is there any way to kind of preset those regions per day?
More or less. Domo, how do you feel about answering that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to set up like a recurring order in that sense, but what you can do is you can, in our weekly planning option, you can set up allowed days, right? So with each order, you can say this order is allowed to happen on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? And then as long as you're just keeping that logic and copying over the routes onto different days, or re-importing whatever it is. But yes.
Next question. Why can't driver updates be updated live time, i.e. starting locations? Not quite sure what they're asking, but maybe you
I
guys
mean,
have a sense.
the only thing I can think of is if one day to the next the driver is going to be at a different location. That's we don't pull that type of information to affect the planning. If you were to say replan tomorrow based on, like, if you say that they have a route starting from the depot for this entire week, but then tomorrow they're starting elsewhere, um, within the planning settings, if you have our weekly planning feature for any of our pro subscribers, you can actually on a day-by-day basis update it so that they have different starting locations. Again, that's clicking the plan routes button. You have the planning settings window, and when you select a driver, you can select specific days to be able to adjust that. But aside from that, you can the driver start location can be updated through the API. So that is something where if you have that information as to where they are, that's an option as well, where you can go and say, okay, here's their starting location. Let's rerun the algorithm based on this this update. So hopefully I interpreted the question accurately enough. If not, support at OptimoRoute.com. We'll do our best to figure it out and answer it more accurately if that's the case.
Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, and also the platform automatically locks us out in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to say we've got a couple of questions we didn't get to, about 3 of them. We will provide answers back to those users directly. I apologize we couldn't get to them all at this moment, but just wanted a quick reminder. One, 301 session coming up in a few weeks. Be on the lookout for that. 2 all recorded sessions available on the website. So anything that you want to go back historically to look and see or listen to is available there. As usual, we'd like to thank all of our customers and folks in trial for visiting with us today. We're happy to provide these sessions and hopefully they're useful for you. Also like to thank Domo and Devin again for joining. And so again, thanks guys for spending time with us today. We look forward to seeing you on the next OptimoRoute webinar as well. Bye now.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.